You could get arrested right now for something you did this morning and you have no idea. There are laws on the books that were written by terrified politicians who panicked over things that seem ridiculous today. And some of these laws can still get you in serious trouble. So here's the thing about laws. Most of them make sense, right? Don't steal, don't hurt people, pretty basic stuff. But when people panic, when society freaks out over something, lawmakers scramble to do something, anything, to calm everyone down. And that's when we get the weirdest, most random laws you've ever heard of. Today we're looking at 50 actual laws that exist because someone somewhere completely panicked. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you'll never look at your morning routine the same way again. Quick thing before we start. Right now, 95% of you watching aren't subscribed. If you like weird facts and crazy stories, just hit that subscribe button. And if you find this interesting, smash the like button too. Alright, let's get into it. The problem is this. Throughout history, whenever something scared people, whether it was a real threat or just mass hysteria, governments would rush to create new laws. They didn't always think these laws through. They just needed to show they were doing something. A kid gets hurt doing something dumb? Ban it everywhere. Someone creates a moral panic about a new technology? Regulate it into oblivion. A single crime makes headlines? Create a law named after the victim before anyone even understands what happened. And here's what makes it even crazier. Most of these panic laws never get removed. They just sit there in the legal code, forgotten by everyone except the poor person who accidentally breaks one and suddenly finds themselves in court wondering what century they're living in. So let's dive into 50 of the most insane examples. And I'm going to tell you the panic that caused each one. Law number 1. The Kinder Surprise Egg ban in America. Let's start with something that confuses every European who visits the United States. You cannot bring Kinder Surprise eggs into America. You know, those chocolate eggs with tiny toys inside? Yeah, those are illegal. And I'm not talking about frowned upon or discouraged. I mean actually illegal, like customs will confiscate them and you could face a fine of up to $2,500 per egg. Why? Because in 1938, America passed the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, which banned embedding non-food items inside food products. The panic? Kids were choking on small objects hidden in candies. Fair enough, right? But here's the thing. This law was written before Kinder eggs even existed. They were invented in 1974. So when they tried to bring them to America, boom, already illegal. And despite Kinder eggs being sold in every other country on Earth without causing mass casualties, America still won't budge. The panic from 1938 is still controlling what chocolate you can eat in 2025. Law number 2. Video game violence ratings. In the 1990s, parents across America lost their minds over video games. Games like Mortal Kombat and Night Trap made headlines because of their violent and scary content. Congressional hearings were held. Politicians demanded something be done. The panic was real. Parents were convinced video games were turning their kids into violent monsters. So what happened? The video game industry created the ESRB rating system in 1994 to avoid government regulation. But many states went further and passed laws trying to ban the sale of violent video games to minors. Most of these laws got struck down as unconstitutional, but the panic created a whole system of regulation that still exists today. And guess what? Study after study has shown no strong connection between video game violence and real-world violence. But the rating system born from that panic is still here, still deciding what games your kids can buy. Law number 3. Lawn dart ban. Lawn darts, you know, those heavy metal darts you'd throw at targets in your backyard? Banned completely in America since 1988. And not just banned from being sold. The government literally banned them from existing. You can't even give away the ones you already own. The panic started when a 7-year-old girl was killed by a lawn dart in 1987. Her father launched a campaign, and within a year, the Consumer Product Safety Commission banned them entirely. Now here's the context. Over the 25 years lawn darts were sold, they caused an estimated 6,700 injuries. That's about 268 injuries per year in a country of hundreds of millions of people. Compare that to regular sports equipment, and the numbers are actually pretty low. But one tragic death created enough panic to erase a product from existence forever. Law number 4. Comic Book Content Code. In the 1950s, America went through a bizarre panic about comic books corrupting youth. A psychiatrist named Frederick Wortham wrote a book called Seduction of the Innocent, claiming that comic books were causing juvenile delinquency. He said Batman and Robin promoted homosexuality. He said Wonder Woman made girls reject traditional feminine roles. He said crime and horror comics were training kids to become criminals. Congress held hearings. Comic book burnings happened in schools. The panic was everywhere. So the comic book industry created the Comics Code Authority in 1954, a self-censorship board that approved what could and couldn't be in comics. The code banned everything. No vampires, no werewolves, no zombies. Criminals couldn't be shown in a positive light. Authority figures had to be respected. Good had to always triumph over evil. This code controlled American comics for decades, and it was all based on junk science and moral panic. The code finally died out in 2011, but it shaped an entire industry because people panicked over drawings. Law number 5. Satanic Panic Daycare Laws. The 1980s and early 1990s saw one of the weirdest panics in modern history. People became convinced that satanic cults were running daycare centers and abusing children in ritual ceremonies. It sounds insane now, but this panic led to massive trials, lives destroyed, and people sent to prison based on completely false testimony from children who were coached by investigators. The panic led to new laws in many states about daycare regulations, background checks, and mandatory reporting. Most of these laws are good and necessary, but they were created in an atmosphere of absolute hysteria, where people believed in underground networks of satanic daycares despite zero evidence. The McMartin preschool trial became the longest and most expensive criminal trial in American history. Everyone was eventually acquitted or had their charges dropped. But the laws created during this panic, still on the books. Law number 6. The prohibition of absinthe. Absinthe, the green liquor that was popular in the 1900s, got banned in America in 1912 and didn't become legal again until 2007. Why? Because people were convinced it caused hallucinations and drove people insane. The panic was fueled by stories of artists and writers who drank absinthe and acted crazy. Vincent van Gogh supposedly cut off his ear while drinking absinthe, so clearly the drink was evil, right? Except absinthe doesn't cause hallucinations. It's just strong alcohol. The panic was based on bad science and moral crusaders who wanted to ban all alcohol. But even after prohibition ended and other alcohols became legal again, absinthe stayed banned for almost a century because the panic had given it such a bad reputation. 95 years of laws based on complete nonsense. Law number 7. Pit bull bans. Hundreds of cities and towns have laws banning pit bulls or requiring special licenses to own them. Why? Because of a panic in the 1980s and 1990s when media reports made it seem like pit bulls were uniquely dangerous killing machines. Every dog bite involving a pit bull made national news. Politicians rushed to ban the breed. But here's the problem. Dog bite statistics don't actually support breed-specific bans. Any large dog can be dangerous if trained poorly or abused. Studies show that breed-specific legislation doesn't reduce dog bites, but try telling that to a city council that passed these laws 30 years ago during peak panic. The laws remain because no politician wants to be the one who lifted the pit bull ban right before a dog bite incident, even if the ban never worked in the first place. Law number 8. Rave Act and MDMA panic. In 2003, the Rave Act was passed in America, officially called the Illicit Drug Anti-Proliferation Act. This law made it possible to prosecute property owners and event organizers if drug use happened at their venue, even if they didn't know about it and tried to prevent it. The law specifically targeted electronic music events, which lawmakers called raves. The panic. MDMA, also known as ecstasy, was being used at these events, and there were some high-profile deaths. So lawmakers decided to make it legally risky to even host electronic music events. The problem is this law made harm reduction efforts illegal too. Event organizers couldn't provide water stations, cool-down rooms, or drug testing services without admitting they expected drug use, which could get them prosecuted. So the panic law actually made things more dangerous. But it's still on the books, still making promoters nervous about hosting events. Law number 9. Stranger danger and sex offender registries. Starting in the 1980s and exploding in the 1990s, America went through a massive stranger danger panic. High-profile kidnapping cases like Adam Walsh led to new laws creating sex offender registries. These laws require people convicted of sex offenses to register their address publicly, often for life, with restrictions on where they can live and work. Now, protecting kids is obviously important, but here's what the panic got wrong. Most child abuse doesn't come from strangers. It comes from family members and people the child knows. The stranger danger panic created this image of predators lurking at every playground, when statistically kids are far safer with strangers than with certain family members or family friends. The laws created from this panic often don't distinguish between serious violent offenders and people convicted of lesser offenses, and studies show these registries don't actually reduce recidivism rates, but the laws keep getting stricter because no politician wants to seem soft on the issue, even when the data shows the approach isn't working as intended. Law number 10. Bath salts ban. Remember when the media went crazy about bath salts in 2012? There was a story about a man in Florida who attacked someone while allegedly on bath salts, and suddenly bath salts became the new drug panic. News reports made it sound like bath salts turned people into zombies. States rushed to ban synthetic cathinones, the chemicals in bath salts. The federal government passed laws too. Here's the thing though, the Florida case that sparked the panic? The guy wasn't even on bath salts. The toxicology report found only marijuana in his system. But by then, the panic had already created a bunch of new laws. Were bath salts potentially dangerous? Sure. But the specific panic that drove the legislation was based on a false story that went viral before anyone checked the facts. Law number 11. Jaywalking laws. This one surprises people. Jaywalking wasn't always illegal. In the early 1900s, streets were shared spaces. People walked in the streets, kids played there, and cars had to navigate around them. But as car companies grew more powerful, they wanted streets to be for cars only. So they created a propaganda campaign to make walking in the street seem stupid and dangerous. They literally invented the term jaywalking, where jay meant idiot. They pushed for laws making it illegal to cross streets outside of crosswalks. The panic they manufactured was about pedestrian safety. But really it was about controlling public space. And it worked. Now we have jaywalking laws in most places, and we all just accept that streets belong to cars, not people. All because of a manufactured panic by the auto industry 100 years ago. Law number 12. Saggy pants laws. In the 2000s, several cities passed laws banning saggy pants, pants worn below the waist showing underwear. Some places made it a finable offense, others made it a criminal misdemeanor. The panic was about indecency and respect and preserving community standards. But let's be real about what was happening. These laws targeted young black men specifically. The style came from hip-hop culture, and the panic was really about policing how young black men dressed in public. The laws were often challenged as unconstitutional, and many have been repealed or aren't enforced. But they existed, and some still do, all because of a moral panic about fashion choices. Law number 13. Razor blade in Halloween candy. This one is more myth than reality, but it created real laws. The panic about strangers putting razor blades or poison in Halloween candy has existed since the 1970s. Parents were terrified. Some hospitals offered to X-ray candy. Laws were passed in various places about Halloween safety. Here's the truth. There are almost no confirmed cases of strangers tampering with Halloween candy and giving it to random kids. The very few cases that did happen involved family members, not strangers. But the panic was so strong that we still have laws and regulations about Halloween candy safety. And parents still carefully inspect every piece of candy their kids get, all because of an urban legend that became a nationwide panic. Law number 14. Dungeons and Dragons panic. In the 1980s, some people became convinced that Dungeons and Dragons, the fantasy role-playing game, was teaching kids witchcraft and causing teen suicides. Parent groups tried to ban it from schools. Some places succeeded in banning D&D clubs. The panic started when a college student who played D&D disappeared, and later when some troubled teens who played the game died by suicide. Instead of looking at actual mental health issues, people blamed the game. There was no evidence that D&D caused any harm. But the panic led to rules in schools, community centers, and even some cities restricting where and when D&D could be played. Most of these rules are gone now, but they existed, and they ruined the hobby for thousands of kids during the height of the panic. Law number 15. Meth lab chemical restrictions. When America went through its meth panic in the 2000s, laws were passed restricting cold medicine containing pseudoephedrine because it's used to make meth. Now, to buy Sudafed, you have to show ID, sign a logbook, and you can only buy a limited amount per month. Was meth a real problem? Yes. Did these laws stop meth production? Not really. Meth production just moved to super labs in other countries. But regular people trying to deal with their sinus infections now have to jump through hoops, and pharmacies have to track cold medicine sales like it's a controlled substance. The panic created permanent inconvenience for millions of people without actually solving the problem it claimed to address. Law number 16. Unpasteurized milk bans. Raw milk, meaning milk that hasn't been pasteurized, is illegal to sell in many states. The panic? Disease outbreaks from contaminated milk in the early 1900s. Pasteurization made milk safe, and laws were passed to require it. But here's where it gets weird. The panic has continued into modern times. People who want to buy raw milk from local farms, understanding the risks, often can't legally do it. Some states allow it with permits, others ban it outright. The original panic was justified, but the laws have remained so strict that even informed adults can't make their own choices about it. Some states have spent serious money prosecuting farmers for selling raw milk to willing customers, all because of a century-old panic that won't die. Law number 17. Energy drink age restrictions. Several places have tried to pass or have passed laws restricting energy drink sales to minors. The panic started with reports of teens having heart problems or even dying after drinking energy drinks. Headlines made it sound like energy drinks were killing kids left and right. The reality is more complex. Energy drinks do have a lot of caffeine, and a small number of kids with undiagnosed heart conditions did have serious reactions. But coffee has caffeine too, and nobody's trying to ban kids from buying lattes. The panic specifically targeted energy drinks, leading to age restriction laws in some places, even though the actual risk is about caffeine content, not the specific product. It's panic-based legislation that targets one product while ignoring identical risks from other sources. Law number 18. Social media age verification laws. Recent years have seen a panic about kids using social media, with concerns about mental health, predators, and inappropriate content. This has led to laws requiring age verification to use social media platforms. Some states have passed laws requiring parental permission for minors to create accounts. Is social media use among kids a complex issue? Absolutely. But the panic has led to laws that are difficult to enforce and may violate privacy rights. Age verification systems would require everyone, not just kids, to prove their age online, creating massive privacy concerns. The laws are being created faster than anyone can figure out how to actually implement them properly, all driven by panic rather than careful consideration of how to actually protect kids while respecting rights. Law number 19. Knockout game panic laws. In the early 2010s, there was a panic about the knockout game, where supposedly teens were randomly punching strangers trying to knock them unconscious. Media coverage made it seem like an epidemic. Some states passed specific laws with enhanced penalties for knockout game attacks. The problem? The knockout game was never really a widespread trend. Most reports were either exaggerated or were regular assaults being rebranded as this new scary thing. Crime statistics didn't show any spike in random attacks. But the panic led to laws that essentially just duplicated existing assault laws with a trendy new name attached. It was legislation responding to media hype rather than actual crime trends. Law number 20. Baggy pants on airplanes. After incidents where passengers wore revealing clothing on planes, some airlines created and enforced dress codes. While not always laws, these became official policies with legal backing through airline contract law. The panic was about indecency and other passengers feeling uncomfortable, but the enforcement has been wildly inconsistent and often discriminatory. People have been kicked off flights for clothing that seems perfectly normal, often targeting women or people of color disproportionately. The panic about inappropriate clothing created policies that give airlines broad power to police what passengers wear based on subjective standards. Law number 21. Toy gun laws. In 1988, federal law was passed requiring toy guns to have bright orange tips or be brightly colored. The panic came from incidents where police shot people, including kids, holding realistic-looking toy guns. The law was meant to prevent these tragedies. This one is more justified than many on this list. But it's still an example of panic legislation because the law doesn't actually solve the problem it's meant to address. Police shootings involving toy guns still happen because in a split-second decision, an orange tip isn't always visible or noticed. The law makes people feel like something was done. But the fundamental issue of police using lethal force based on perceived threats remains unchanged. Law number 22. Mollywhopping panic. Wait, this isn't real. I just made that up to see if you're still paying attention. But it sounds like it could be a real panic, right? That's how easy it is for these things to start. Someone gives something a scary name, a few news reports run with it, and suddenly politicians are rushing to ban mollywhopping even though nobody really knows what it is. That's literally how some of these panics begin. Law number 23. Slap bracelets ban. Remember slap bracelets? Those metal strips covered in fabric that you'd slap on your wrist and they'd curl around? Schools across America banned them in the 1990s. The panic started when some bracelets broke, exposing sharp metal edges that cut kids. Was there a real danger? Minimally. A few kids got minor cuts from defective bracelets. The solution could have been better quality control. Instead, schools nationwide banned them entirely. It became this huge panic where schools were collecting and throwing away slap bracelets like they were weapons. Looking back, it's hilarious that schools treated slap bracelets as a major safety crisis requiring immediate bans and official policies. Law number 24. Fidget spinner bans. Speaking of school panics, when fidget spinners became popular in 2017, schools started banning them almost immediately. The panic was that they were distracting kids from learning. Schools created policies prohibiting fidget spinners, some going as far as suspending students who brought them to class. The irony? Fidget spinners were originally marketed as tools to help kids with ADHD focus. But because every kid wanted one and they became a trendy toy, schools panicked and banned them. No evidence that they were actually causing learning problems. No studies showing they were more distracting than kids passing notes or doodling. Just pure panic that something new and popular must be bad. Law number 25. Pokemon Go restrictions. When Pokemon Go became a huge hit in 2016, panic followed immediately. Stories of people walking into traffic, trespassing, or getting robbed while playing led to laws and policies. Some places banned playing Pokemon Go in certain areas. Others created laws about playing while driving. Some of this made sense. You shouldn't play games while driving. But the panic led to overreach. Some places tried to ban the game from public spaces entirely. The game was blamed for accidents that were really just people not paying attention to their surroundings, which happened long before Pokemon Go existed. The panic treated a mobile game like it was a public safety crisis requiring emergency legislation. Law number 26. Spice and K2 bans. Before bath salts, there was Spice and K2, synthetic marijuana products sold legally in stores. When reports came out about bad reactions and hospitalizations, states rushed to ban specific chemical compounds. Then manufacturers would slightly change the formula to create a new legal version, so states would ban those new chemicals. This cat and mouse game led to laws with huge lists of banned chemical compounds. The panic was justified. These products were dangerous, but the response created this massive regulatory mess where laws listed hundreds of specific chemicals, and determining what was legal or illegal became incredibly complex. Some laws were so broadly written, they accidentally banned things that weren't even drugs. It was panic legislation that tried to keep up with a moving target and created legal chaos in the process. Law number 27. Vaping flavor bans. When vaping became popular, there was initial acceptance as a smoking alternative. Then came the panic. Reports of teens vaping and some cases of vaping-related lung injuries led to moral panic about vaping. Several states and cities banned flavored vape products, arguing that flavors targeted kids. The panic ignored some key facts. The lung injuries were primarily linked to illegal THC vaping products, not legal nicotine vapes. And while teen vaping is a concern, the flavor bans also affected adult smokers trying to quit cigarettes using vaping. The laws were rushed through during peak panic without considering the complexity of the issue or the unintended consequences of pushing former smokers back to cigarettes. Law number 28. Silly string laws. In several cities, including parts of Los Angeles, it's illegal to use silly string in public during certain times. Yes, silly string, the party toy. The law came from panic about Halloween celebrations where people were spraying silly string everywhere, creating cleanup problems and fire hazards. Is silly string flammable? Yes. Is it messy? Yes. Does it require laws making it illegal to use in public? That seems like overkill. But the panic about rowdy Halloween celebrations led to actual laws with fines for possession and use of silly string. It's one of those laws that makes you wonder if the lawmakers had anything better to do. Law number 29. Goldfish as prizes ban. Several places have banned giving away goldfish as prizes at fairs and carnivals. The panic was about animal cruelty because most goldfish won as prizes die quickly. People argued it taught kids that animals are disposable. There's actually some merit to the concern. But the panic led to specific laws banning goldfish prizes while ignoring other questionable animal practices. It became this symbolic issue where goldfish at fairs became the focus of animal rights activism, leading to laws that addressed a very specific practice while larger animal welfare issues went unaddressed. Law number 30. Selfie stick bans. When selfie sticks became popular, places rushed to ban them. Museums, theme parks, concert venues all created policies prohibiting selfie sticks. Some places even passed local ordinances about them. The panic was about safety and disruption. Were selfie sticks sometimes annoying? Sure. Could they potentially hit someone? Yes. But so can umbrellas, and those aren't banned. The panic specifically targeted selfie sticks as this new threat requiring immediate bans, when really they're just extendable sticks. The rush to ban them was more about venues panicking over something new than addressing actual safety concerns. Law number 31. Baggy clothing in malls. Some shopping malls created and enforced policies against baggy clothing, arguing it was related to gang activity or shoplifting. While not always laws, these policies had legal teeth through trespass law. The panic was about crime and creating a certain atmosphere. But the policies were often discriminatory, targeting young people, particularly young men of color. Baggy clothing doesn't cause crime, but the panic about certain styles being associated with criminal activity led to policies that essentially profiled people based on how they dressed. It's panic-driven policy that confuses correlation with causation and targets appearance rather than behavior. Law number 32. Lemonade stand permits. Kids have been shut down for running lemonade stands without business licenses and permits. While the laws requiring permits existed before, enforcement ramped up in the 2000s and 2010s, creating news stories and public outcry. The panic on the government side was about food safety and unlicensed business operations. It's technically true that food service requires permits, but shutting down a kid's lemonade stand because they don't have a health permit is panic-driven enforcement. Nobody's getting sick from lemonade stands. But officials, panicking about liability and regulations, started cracking down on children selling lemonade, leading to public backlash and some places creating specific exceptions for children's lemonade stands. Laws created from panic about food safety being applied in ridiculous ways. Law number 33. Droopy pants on segways. Some cities passed laws about how you can ride rental scooters and similar devices, including provisions about proper posture and clothing. The panic was about safety and people riding recklessly. Some laws specifically mentioned not riding with saggy pants because it could affect balance. This combines multiple panics: the scooter panic, the saggy pants panic, and the general panic about new forms of transportation. The laws often came after a few high-profile accidents, leading to regulations that sometimes got oddly specific about clothing and riding positions. It's layer upon layer of panic legislation creating rules about exactly how you can stand on a scooter. Law number 34. Drones over everything. When consumer drones became affordable and popular, panic spread fast. Stories of drones flying near airports, spying on people, or crashing led to a rush of laws. Federal, state, and local laws all tried to regulate drones, often conflicting with each other. Some regulation makes sense, but the panic created a confusing mess of laws that often contradict. Some places banned drones entirely from public spaces. Others required special permits. The FAA created federal rules that sometimes conflicted with state laws. It was panic legislation happening at multiple levels of government simultaneously, creating a regulatory nightmare for anyone trying to figure out where and how they could legally fly a drone. Law number 35. Tide Pod Challenge Laws. When videos of people eating Tide Pods went viral in 2018, panic ensued. Some states considered laws about social media challenges that encourage dangerous behavior. Others looked at laws about product packaging. It was peak panic about internet trends. The thing is, eating laundry detergent was already illegal in the sense that deliberately poisoning yourself could get you held for psychological evaluation. But the panic wanted new specific laws. Fortunately, most proposed laws didn't pass because people realized you can't legislate away stupidity. But the panic almost created a bunch of laws specifically about eating Tide Pods, which would have been absurd. Law number 36. Saggy Pants. Part 3. The Return. I already mentioned saggy pants laws, but they deserve another mention because of how widespread the panic was. Over the years, different places have tried to ban saggy pants in different contexts. On public transportation, in government buildings, in schools. Each wave of panic created new attempts at legislation. The fact that saggy pants keep coming up shows how moral panics work. They fade, then resurge with new justifications. First, it was indecency. Then gang affiliation. Then disrespect. Each panic wave tried to create new laws with varying success. It's a perfect example of how panic laws keep evolving to target the same thing with different reasoning. Law number 37. Cyberbullying laws that go too far. Cyberbullying is a real problem that deserves attention. But the panic about it has led to some laws that are too broad or potentially unconstitutional. Some laws criminalize online speech that, while mean, might be protected under the First Amendment. Others are so vaguely written that they could criminalize normal teenage behavior. The panic comes from tragic cases of teens being bullied online and dying by suicide. The desire to do something is understandable. But rushing to pass laws during peak panic has created legislation that sometimes doesn't distinguish between serious harassment and hurt feelings. Some laws make it a crime to say something online that causes emotional distress, which is an incredibly broad standard. Law number 38. Flammable costumes ban. After some tragic fires involving costumes, laws were passed requiring children's costumes to be flame-resistant. This happened in the 1950s and 1960s when synthetic fabrics became common in costumes. The panic was about children's safety. This is one of the more justified laws on this list. The panic was based on real tragedies, but it's still an example of how a few incidents drove sweeping legislation. The law requires flame resistance testing and labeling, creating an entire regulatory system for Halloween costumes. It's good regulation, but it came from panic rather than proactive safety planning. Law number 39. Fortune-telling bans. Many places have laws restricting or banning fortune-telling for money. These laws date back decades and came from panics about fraud. The idea was that fortune-tellers were scamming vulnerable people. While fortune-telling fraud does exist, the laws often criminalize all fortune-telling, even when both parties understand its entertainment. Some places require special licenses, others ban it outright. The panic was about protecting people from scams, but the laws often go too far and restrict what should be considered free speech or free commerce between consenting adults. Law number 40. Laser pointer restrictions. After reports of people pointing lasers at aircraft, laws were passed with serious penalties for shining lasers at planes. Some places also banned high-powered laser pointers entirely or restricted their sale. The panic was about aviation safety. This is another case where the concern is legitimate. Shining lasers at aircraft is dangerous and deserves penalties, but the panic led to very broad laws. Some places made it illegal to own certain types of lasers without legitimate professional use. The laws went beyond addressing the actual problem and started restricting access to lasers in general because of panic about the potential for misuse. Law number 41. Emo music panic. In some countries, particularly Russia and parts of the Middle East, there have been panics about emo music and culture leading to teen suicide. This led to attempts to ban or restrict emo music and fashion. While not widespread in America, it shows how music panics are universal. The panic blamed a music genre for teen mental health issues rather than addressing actual causes. Some places banned emo concerts or tried to prohibit emo fashion in schools. It's the same panic that hit rock music, punk music, and hip-hop over the years. Each generation finds a new type of music to panic about. Law number 42. Ninja star bans. Many places have laws specifically banning ninja stars, also called throwing stars. These laws came from a panic about martial arts weapons in the 1980s when ninja movies were popular. Kids wanted ninja weapons, and parents panicked. Ninja stars are essentially sharp pieces of metal. They're not particularly more dangerous than knives, which are legal in most places with some restrictions. But the panic specifically targeted ninja weapons as this exotic, dangerous threat. So we have laws in many states that specifically ban ninja stars while allowing other weapons that are functionally similar or more dangerous. It's panic legislation based on cultural fears rather than actual threat assessment. Law number 43. Planking ban attempts. When planking became a viral trend, where people would lie flat in unusual or dangerous locations and take photos, some places tried to create laws against it. The panic was about people planking in dangerous spots like on roofs or bridges. Trespassing was already illegal. Reckless endangerment was already illegal. But the panic wanted specific anti-planking laws. Some places succeeded in passing them. Others just enforced existing laws more strictly against plankers. It was treating an internet trend like it was a unique threat requiring new legislation when existing laws already covered the dangerous aspects. Law number 44. ASMR video regulations. In some countries, there have been attempts to regulate or ban certain types of ASMR videos, claiming they're inappropriate or potentially harmful. The panic is often about sexualization or about the psychological effects of ASMR content. ASMR videos are generally people whispering or making quiet sounds to help people relax. But panic about new internet trends led to some places trying to regulate them. It's another example of panic legislation struggling to deal with new online content that doesn't fit into existing categories. Law number 45. Cryptocurrency panic regulations. When cryptocurrency became mainstream, governments panicked about money laundering, tax evasion, and financial stability. This led to a rush of regulations, often contradictory, as different agencies tried to control crypto. Some regulation is necessary, but much of the early regulation came from panic rather than understanding. Laws were passed quickly, often by people who didn't understand the technology. The result is a patchwork of panic-driven laws that don't always make sense or work as intended. Regulations are still being sorted out, but the initial wave was pure panic legislation. Law number 46, AI art panic laws. Right now, we're watching panic legislation being created in real time around AI-generated art and content. The panic is about copyright, job displacement, and misinformation. Laws are being proposed about labeling AI content, restricting AI training data, and regulating AI use. It's too early to know which laws will stick or whether they're justified. But we can see the panic happening. Politicians are rushing to do something about AI without fully understanding it. It's the same pattern we've seen with every new technology. Some laws will probably be necessary. Others will be panic-driven overreach that we'll look back on in 20 years and wonder what we were thinking. Law number 47, hoverboard bans. When hoverboards, those self-balancing scooters, became popular in 2015, panic hit fast. Reports of hoverboards catching fire and exploding led to bans. Airlines banned them. Some cities banned riding them in public. Stores pulled them from shelves. The fire risk was real. Cheap batteries were dangerous. But the panic led to blanket bans rather than just regulating battery safety standards. Some places banned all hoverboards even after safer versions were developed. The panic response was to ban first and ask questions later rather than addressing the specific safety issue of battery quality.
Law number 48, Ice Bucket Challenge. Copycat law attempts. After the Ice Bucket Challenge went viral, and then people started doing increasingly dangerous challenge videos for attention, some places tried to pass laws about dangerous social media challenges. The panic was that kids would hurt themselves trying to go viral. The laws struggled with how to define what counted as an illegal challenge versus just people being dumb. Most proposed laws didn't pass because they were too vague or violated free speech. But the panic tried to create laws that would somehow prevent people from filming themselves doing dangerous things, which is nearly impossible to legislate effectively. Law number 49, Bluetooth speaker bans. Some beaches, parks, and public spaces have banned portable Bluetooth speakers. The panic is about noise pollution and people blasting music in public spaces. While noise ordinances already existed, new laws specifically targeting Bluetooth speakers were created. The panic treats portable speakers like they're uniquely annoying when people have been bringing boom boxes and radios to beaches for decades. But because Bluetooth speakers are the current technology, they became the target of panic legislation. It's the same issue that could be addressed with existing noise laws, but the panic wanted to ban the specific device rather than regulate the behavior. Law number 50, TikTok bans. And finally, we arrive at current-day panic. Several states and the federal government have tried to ban TikTok over concerns about data privacy and Chinese government influence. Some places have banned it on government devices. Others have tried to ban it entirely. Are the security concerns legitimate? Maybe. But the panic has led to legislation that might not survive constitutional challenges and doesn't address the broader issue of data privacy across all social media platforms. It's targeting one company and one app based on panic about foreign influence while ignoring similar data collection practices by American companies. Whether this panic is justified or overblown, we won't know for years, but it fits the pattern perfectly. Something scares people, politicians rush to ban it, and we'll figure out later whether it was the right move. So here's what all 50 of these laws have in common. They were created when people were scared, when politicians needed to show they were doing something, when the media was running scary stories non-stop, when parents were worried, when the public demanded action. And that's the problem with panic laws. They're not created through careful thought and analysis. They're created through fear. They're reactive instead of proactive. They focus on specific incidents rather than overall patterns. They satisfy the emotional need to do something without always checking if that something actually helps. Some of these laws were justified, some addressed real problems, but many of them were overkill. Many targeted symptoms rather than causes. Many restricted freedom without providing meaningful safety, and almost none of them get removed once the panic passes. Because no politician wants to be the one who repealed a safety law right before something bad happens. The cycle repeats over and over. New technology emerges, people panic, laws get created, time passes, we realize the panic was overblown, but the laws remain, and then something new comes along and the cycle starts again. Right now, there are probably panics happening that will create the next generation of weird laws. AI is the obvious one, but there will be others, new social media platforms, new types of entertainment, new fashion trends, new ways for kids to do dumb things, and each time there will be calls for new laws written quickly during peak panic that we'll look back on in 20 or 30 years and wonder why they exist. The lesson isn't that all regulation is bad. Society needs laws and rules. The lesson is that laws created during panic rarely age well. They're based on fear rather than data. They're written to calm public anxiety rather than solve actual problems. And once they're in the books, they're nearly impossible to remove. So there you have it. 50 freaky laws that exist because someone, somewhere, completely panicked. From Kinder eggs to TikTok bans, from comic book codes to fidget spinners, from lawn darts to AI regulations. Each one tells a story about what scared society at a particular moment in time. Some of these laws made sense. Some were complete overreach. Some addressed real problems in ineffective ways. Some targeted the wrong things entirely. But all of them share one thing in common. They were born from panic rather than careful planning. And here's the uncomfortable truth. We're living through future panics right now. In 20 years, people will make videos about the crazy laws we're creating today. They'll laugh about the things we were scared of. They'll wonder why we banned or regulated certain things while ignoring actual problems. The question is, can we recognize panic while we're in it? Can we slow down and think carefully before creating new laws? Or are we doomed to keep repeating the cycle, creating panic laws that future generations will mock? History suggests we'll keep making the same mistakes. Every generation thinks their panic is different, more justified, more real, and sometimes they're right. But most of the time, hindsight shows that the panic was overblown and the laws it created were unnecessary. So the next time you hear calls for emergency legislation because of some new scary trend or technology, remember these 50 laws. Ask yourself whether this is a real problem that needs new laws, or whether existing laws already cover it. Ask whether the proposed solution actually addresses the problem or just makes people feel better. Ask whether we're acting from careful analysis or from panic. Because panic laws are easy to create, but almost impossible to remove. And once they're on the books, we're stuck with them for decades or longer. Whether it's chocolate eggs, video games, or whatever new thing scares people next, the pattern remains the same. We panic, we legislate, we regret, and then we do it all over again with something new. If this made you think differently about laws, hit subscribe.